The next item of business is the proclamation of the National Accessibility Week 2023. Whereas the National Accessibility Week is a time to promote inclusion and accessibility in our communities and workplaces, and a time to celebrate the contributions of Canadians with disabilities. Whereas National Accessibility Week is a time to recognize the efforts of individuals, communities, and workplaces actively removing barriers to give people of all abilities a better opportunity to engage in their communities. Whereas Access Awareness Week was launched in 1987, following the Rick Hansen Man in Motion World Tour to promote better community access for people with disabilities. And whereas the City of Peterborough is committed to building an inclusive community and providing accessible environments, supporting the goal of expressed in the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act of achieving an accessible society by preventing and removing barriers to equal access for persons with disabilities. Therefore, be resolved that I, Jeff Leal, Mayor of the City of Peterborough, do hereby proclaim the week of May 28th to June 3rd, 2023 as Accessibility Week in the City of Peterborough. I encourage all citizens to recognize and support the important work being carried out by the city's Accessibility Advisory Committee, the Council for Persons with Disabilities, and the many disability-related organizations in the City of Peterborough. Persons with disabilities are trusted friends, neighbors, community advocates, and beloved family members. Inclusion and equality for persons with disabilities benefits everyone. When persons with disabilities have equal opportunities to contribute to our community, have equal opportunities to work, have the same quality of service from their government, and enjoy the same quality of life as everyone else, we build a stronger economy and a stronger Peterborough. The Council of Persons with Disabilities will be hosting a second annual Capable Con on Saturday, June 3rd in downtown Peterborough at the Venture North Building parking lot. This event is an opportunity to celebrate the differences in our community and create a safe space to learn, share, and promote inclusivity. I now want to ask Councillor Duguay to say a few words. Councillor Duguay has been a strong advocate, particularly in the design field and the planning field, to make sure with persons with disabilities get a full access to everything Peterborough has to offer. Councillor Duguay, please.
Hansen. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Hansen as part of that world tour. A remarkable, remarkable human being. It is my pleasure, Your Worship, members of council, public, those in the room, and those attending virtually. I'd like to introduce Sue Dickson. Sue is an artist and an accessibility advocate who has called Peterborough home for almost 35 years. She is a graduate of both Fleming College and Trent University. She has been a member of the Accessibility Advisory Committee since March of 2019 and a member of the Built Environment Subcommittee since 2017, serving as chair for many of those years. I also have the pleasure of working directly with Sue in my capacity as a council liaison to the AAC. It's my pleasure to introduce Sue Dickson.
For the start of National Accessibility Week on May 28th, we want to take this opportunity to reflect on Peterborough's commitment to accessibility and inclusion. Long before the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Act, the AODA, created the requirement for many Ontario municipalities to establish an Accessible Advisory Committee in 2002, Peterborough had created the Council for Persons with Disabilities in 1989. CPD served as the AAC until the AODA changes made them separate entities in 2012. CPD sets the standard for educating the public on accessibility issues. Each program delivery reinforces a best practice approach rooted in disability. CPD offers programs designed, implemented, and facilitated by actual disabled people, embodying the notion of nothing about us without us. The Accessibility Advisory Committee addresses matters of accessibility and inclusion as it relates to requirements at the municipal level. CPD's focus is advocacy-centered, offering programs to the public in experiential education and accessibility assessments for the built environment and virtual spaces. This two-pronged approach to accessibility has meant that Peterborough has been a leader in fostering inclusion. The AAC administers the Access Fund, which was created in 2016. The fund helps to maximize inclusion in municipal spaces by increasing accessibility beyond the minimum afforded by legislation. Since its inception, the fund has allowed for accessibility upgrades like creating Braille signage at the library, adding arena aisle lighting and railings to the Memorial Center, and installing the first hearing loop assistive technology right here at the City Hall reception desk. The fund was also used for mental health first aid training and Time in My Shoes program training from CPD. The Access Fund has enabled playground enhancement at Pearson Daycare and Heritage Park. It has funded the retrofitting of power door operators at various facilities, made walkway and ramp improvements, including trails, benches, and made a possible beach access mat and route at Beavermead. At an event like CPD's second annual Capable Con, it's just an example of how the AAC and the CPD work together. As mentioned before, it will be held on June 3rd at the Venture North parking lot and is free for everyone to attend. On behalf of the Accessibility Advisory Committee and the Council for Persons with Disabilities, I invite everyone to attend Capable Con as it closes Peterborough's National Accessibility Week. The late City Councillor and founder of CPD, Lois Hart Maxwell, said that her accessibility work would never be finished. Recognizing that there will always be more to do, a civic award for those who have enhanced the quality of life for people with disabilities through volunteer work in the City or County of Peterborough has been awarded 46 times since 1989. The award is named after Hart Maxwell's peers, Gordon and R.B. Hollenbeck, who work to make their community more accessible. Because the work of accessibility has no end, it means that advocates must continue to balance operating within systems and at the same time pushing against them to seek equity. Accessibility needs to be at the forefront of conversations to ensure it is always considered, even as we celebrate our progress. Working towards accessibility in 2023, advocates have new challenges. While people with disabilities can easily get into the City Hall building now, losing access to transportation will reverse Peterborough's accessibility significantly. If somebody needs an accessible taxi to get medical care after hours, that medical care is often inaccessible to them. Eliminating community buses will make it more difficult to access care during the day too. Many people with disabilities require transit to get to work and to volunteer. Without accessible transportation, those volunteering for CPD may not be able to attend. Not prioritizing transportation means that Peterborough's other efforts at inclusion could easily become irrelevant. Transportation is essential for people with disabilities to live fulsome and satisfying lives. As we embrace National Accessibility Week, please remember that in unending jobs, many hands make light work. For NAW 2023, let us celebrate those who have installed ramps along our paths and work to find ways to use universal design to build accessible paths for the advocates of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's interesting you mentioned Lois Hart Maxwell. I had the opportunity, I served with Lois Hart Maxwell, one of the most remarkable city councillors that I got a chance to be with, and she had contracted polio as a child, and her advocacy work makes Peterborough a much better place to live, work, and play. And we'll always thank her for that.